Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is Senator Dan Coats, Republican from Indiana, who says the country is on an unsustainable spending binge. Sir, is it a spending problem or is it a revenue problem? What say you?
Oh, there's no question about that. This Congress, over the past several years, has spent so much money, it's hardly comprehensible how much we plunged into debt and how much has been excessive spending. Just 24% in the last couple of years. Totally unsustainable. It's got to be addressed for the future of the country, for the prosperity and ability to get jobs for people in America. No one else in America is spending money like this Congress.
Senator, would you suggest, though, that we don't raise the debt ceiling?
Well, what I suggest is that we stand up to the reality of where we are and put in place the necessary mechanism to get us back to fiscal health. We're using the debt ceiling as a leverage to accomplish that. The issue is not really raising or subtracting or holding even on the debt ceiling. The issue is, what are we going to do to address this crisis to avoid something much worse down the line? And it's got to be done now, and it's got to be done in conjunction with the debt ceiling, or we won't have the leverage against the White House.
Well, what do you suggest we do, sir? I mean, Paul Ryan's got a very aggressive plan, cutting $6.2 trillion out of the next 10 years' worth of budgets. What do you think we should do? Should we adopt across the board Representative Ryan's proposal?
Well, that's a great starting point. In fact, it's Republican who's put forward the only plan that we have. Now, we're anxious to hear from the president tomorrow about what his plan might be. It's sort of like dragging him into this, kicking and screaming. I hope it's not just rhetoric that we heard at the State of the Union. Sounded great, but no follow-up. So if we just hear a campaign speech or we just hear rhetoric that doesn't have the commitment of the president to address the real problem that we have, which includes mandatory spending, and we can only accomplish what we need to accomplish if the president's on board. So really the ball's in his court, and I'm anxious to hear what he has to say, but much more anxious to see what he does.
Senator, again, I'm going to ask you as well. I asked Representative Issa, I asked Senator Blunt also, how did taxes get back on the board? I mean, I thought that was a done deal back in December of last year.
Well, I guess we're learning that nothing's ever a done deal around here.
Yep.
That was the commitment made at the end of the last year. We just have to keep hammering home that the issue before us is excessive spending, and simply raising revenues to address this spending deficit is not going to solve the problem.
That's right.
So let's go after spending and get this government back to the level where it ought to be, and it certainly is not where we are now.
All right, I'm going to say thank you to Senator Dan Coats. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Bringing it up.